So today is going to be our first episode, number one, first in existence, and today I'm just going to kind of introduce myself. I'm going to show you a couple of the vehicles that I have that will be on the channel, talk to you a little bit about what you can expect to see, and kind of go from there. So without further ado, let's check out what we have. So first car that we're going to talk about, I guess we can kind of go like oldest, middle, youngest. So first car, here we have my 2002 BMW 530i. This is an inline six car. It does have the sport package, not an M Sport. They only made the M Sport, I believe, in 2003. So this being a 2002, it does have all of these sport goodies. But you will notice it does still have the base model bumpers. It does not have the M Sport, M5, M Technic. There's, I think, like 3 or 4 different names, but this is not that. So it's not quite as desirable, I guess, but I still love it. So we can check out the interior first. You will see we have nice black sport interior. It is in really good shape for a car that is going on, what, 19 years old, if I can do math. So, you know, pretty nice. This car does have 98,000, give or take, thousand original miles. So it's in pretty good shape. Car spent its whole life in central Tennessee and northern Georgia. And while it is dirty now, you can see this is really a clean car, and that is kind of why I bought it. This car will be kind of built into a show stance kind of car, and I wanted to start with a clean one. I didn't want to fix rust. Living up here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, rust is very common, and I just didn't want to deal with that. This car is very, very clean. I would love to keep it that way. And so it's going to be just a summer vehicle that will be, kind of like I said, built for the stance. A lot of quotations here because, frankly, there's some misconceptions about what that means. Stepping in, you will see that this is a 5-speed manual car. This car hasn't ran in about a week. Perfect. What more can you ask for? Nice, smooth idle, nothing crazy. Do have a lot of burnt pixels, but as you can see, 98,521 miles. And don't worry about that. Parking brake is on. I don't have a seatbelt, so no dash lights on this car at all. Beautiful running condition. All of my cars have different hood releases, so it is a little annoying, but that's okay. So, right here we have our 3-liter inline 6. This is an M54 engine, and let me pull up the specs on here. 228 horsepower, 221 pound-feet of torque from this guy. This is the M54 B30, and this car is very stock. As you can see, everything here looks as it was when it rolled out of the factory, which for a car that I plan on driving a fair amount, I'm okay with. So this car has had some work done to it. It does have a shark injector tune. That was pretty common on these in kind of that mid-2000s BMW OEM Plus type mod scene. So it does have that done. It also has the clutch delay valve deleted. And last thing, very, very minor, we do have an ECS tuning oil filter cap, I guess, oil filter housing. That was replaced due to the other one cracking, which I guess is pretty common. We do not have that issue on any of the other BMWs, but I'm sure given enough time, it will happen. So let's talk about what is wrong with this car, because it is, you know, 19 years old, does have almost 100,000 on it. First thing, this door right here does not lock. The door lock actuator is bad, needs to be replaced. Thankfully, that is only like an $80 part, give or take, so no big deal there. Next thing, Same side, this door does not open from the outside. It needs the door handle carrier replaced. I think that's like a $120 part, give or take. Not a big deal again. And last real issue, back there you might see these black little posts there and there, and what those are the supports for the rear power sunshade. This car does have the rear power sunshade. It was an original option, and it broke up. And so instead of fixing it, the previous owner cut the screen out and left the post. So normally that wouldn't be a huge deal, but if you can see right there and right here, if you can see that, it has actually worn through the tint, which that's not a big deal. This tint is very old and it's starting to lift on the corners as well as start to turn purple. But the real problem is, once again, I don't know how well it's going to come through, but it looks like this has actually chipped the glass from vibrations over being up for years, I would like to think. And so that could be a problem. I don't know how much these cost to replace, if that's something that could be, you know, fixed. I don't know, we'll see. But that kind of summarizes this car, what it is, what it needs, where it's been, where it's going. So this one, stick along for. We will be doing a build series for this car, as you will see in the next video, where we are announcing our first build series. I do go into a little more detail on that one. So without further ado, we turn the attention to what is probably my favorite car that I own right now. I absolutely love this car. It is the best summer daily driver I have ever had. I cannot say enough good things about this car. So this is my 2006 750 Li, which denotes long wheelbase. This car has the N62 4.8 liter V8, 355 horsepower, I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 370 foot-pounds of torque, and 6-speed ZF automatic gearbox. So, backstory behind this car, I actually bought this one last July, I want to say, and not too far from here actually. It was only about 2.5 hours away. Maybe at some point I will do like a VinWiki style, I guess, story time with this car. It is an interesting one, and unfortunately I won't have time to get to it today. But if that is something you guys are interested in seeing, definitely let me know down in the comments, because trust me, you would be interested in hearing this story. It is a doozy. Go ahead and start it. And as you can see, it is a little less happy on startup. And that's okay, but let's talk about it. So this car, as you may be able to see, has 188,136 miles. So this car has been very well driven. I love it. I cannot get enough of this car. It is incredibly comfortable, even though it is relatively base model in terms of E65, E66 generation cars. I cannot complain. Looking in the back, we do have a ton of leg room, guys. I can sit behind myself. I'm 6'2.5" or so, and I still have like 6 to 8 inches of leg room. It is insane at how much room you have in this car. Front seats are both heated and cooled. Mine is even massaging, which while it's not the best massaging seat I've ever been in for 2006, that is an incredible feature. It does help a little bit when it comes to driving fatigue on the longer trips that I've taken in this car, but it's really not much to write home about. Turning our attention back to the rear, We do have the automatic side and rear privacy shades. Now this one, you might be able to see it, doesn't seat all the way down, and that's because that clip is broken. Otherwise, I would love to show you. I will still show you just the rear, because that works perfectly fine. Peasant blockers, I think the straight pipes call it. So power shades all around. The rear, well, this is not the comfort package, which has the reclining seats, heated and cooled. It does still have a heated rear bench. It does have nice little rear climate controls, all that good stuff. Not too much stuff has been done. It looks like we have a little leak coming back. When I first bought this car, the reservoir was held together with JV weld, less than ideal. And so I replaced that as well as the cap, and it looks like I may actually have to replace the cap again. So there is some truth to the BMW cooling system, guys. It is problematic, and even if you replace things once, it doesn't mean that they're always going to be good. So if you have one of these cars, I'm sure you're no stranger, but something to check if you are new to this platform. Go through your entire cooling system, guys. Check everything out: hoses, reservoirs, radiator itself. Everything is a known issue. They're poorly made, inexpensive. I don't want to rag on BMW. Obviously, I love the brand, I love the cars, but there are definitely some flaws. So let's talk about some of the other work that has been done on this car, because guys, it is an extensive list. First thing that will become most obvious is the wheels and tires on this car are not original to it. I do often like aftermarket wheels. I just do. These are the Bayern Antler wheels, 20 by 9 up front. I believe it's a plus 15 offset, and 20 by 10.5 in the rear with plus 25 offset. Although these wheels, the center bore is actually the E39 center bore size. So I do have these hub-centric spacer adapter type things. These are 10 mil, which I believe makes it somewhere around the plus 15 offset as well when you factor in the 10 mil spacers. The reason I did this car was on mismatched and bald tires when I bought it. The original wheels that are on it were the base model 18s that looked very small on this car. They were in very poor shape, and so I ended up just replacing them completely, throwing these wheels on, which I love. In hindsight, I probably should have gone with a 21 or 22 might be excessive, but I do like these wheels. And in order to make the wheel gap a little bit more tolerable, we have done H&R lowering springs and the Bilstein B4 shocks, shock struts, I believe struts all the way around. I think that lowered it around 1.2 inches in the front and 1 inch in the rear. The reason we did this, guys, is at almost 190,000 miles, this car had the original suspension, front and rear, springs, struts, all the way around. It was original, 190,000 miles. And this car lived in Wisconsin for most of its life. So I'm sure it has seen plenty of salt, plenty of winter driving, and each corner was a different height. It was very wallowy in the corners. It was bouncy over bumps. It needed to be replaced, so it was all replaced. At the same time, we did the lower control arms on this car, both sets in the front. Those were very, very used as well. Actually mismatched as well. Someone had replaced one, and one, the bolt holding it to the body or the subframe, not the knuckle, the other mounting point was actually finger tight, which is crazy. One other thing that was replaced, you can hear it running in there. It's located right there. The amplifier, guys, that is a very common issue on these cars, especially the cars that have the Logic 7 sound system, which this one does. It was bad. This will be the time it never goes back up. Oh, thank God. Okay, so big issue there. This I've reset. I have done everything I can. I think it has a regulator issue. That would not be uncommon on BMWs at all. Next thing, the seal for both the sunroof and the trunk are extremely weather cracked, dry rotted, however you want to say it. Those need to be replaced. On the roof, we have a ton of scratching, fading. Actually, the clear is actually even starting to oxidize, and if you listen, it just sounds like sandpaper. I have clay barred this car. I have hand polished it. Nothing really helps. We are going to try to cut and polish this, but I think, guys, this may just be too much damage. So maybe in the future this roof will be repainted. I would love to do more on this car, guys. I would love to modify it further. I would love to restore it further. I would love to work on it further, and I would love to bring you along with. So if that is something you're interested in, definitely tell me in the comments, because otherwise I'm probably just going to keep driving it. So you might see it kind of in passing. You might see me vlog in it while I'm in the car. I don't know. Finally, we are at the end of the journey. This here is my 2018 X5. This is the X-Drive 35D model. So this is a diesel. It does have the M Sport package, which gives you cool bumpers, bigger fender flares, thicker wheels and tires, as well as these low pro roof rails in this really neat kind of satin brushed aluminum, not chrome, which I really like. We'll go further into it. This right here, being the M Sport, also gives you these sport seats. They are fantastic. They are no 7 Series seats, but they really, really are comfortable. I haven't taken this car on too many crazy trips yet. I have only had it for about 3 months, but they really do a great job of keeping you comfortable, keeping you where you want to be in the corners, because actually for an SUV, for an automatic SUV, and for a diesel SUV, this car actually drives very, very well. We have our good friend iDrive here, much updated since the 7 Series. This iDrive is fantastic, guys. I have no gripes about this whatsoever. It has these nice little hotkeys where you can kind of go to different functions quickly and easily instead of having to just scroll through the wheel of death in the 7 Series. We also have a nice panoramic sunroof. I believe that was a standard feature on all X5s. Do have the Harman Kardon sound system, which once again, for a base sound system, remember guys, this car is completely stock, so everything on it, everything on it is a factory feature. So factory stereo, pretty darn good. Are there better out there? Yes, but it's plenty fine for me. So this car is a 2018 with 39,968 on the clock. So pretty low mileage, guys, and I actually bought this car certified. I think we're gonna be okay. On this car, when I bought it, it didn't really have any service history other than a few oil changes and I think 2 battery replacements. One in 2019, one in 2020. So because it hadn't really had anything done yet and had almost 40,000 miles, I took this car to the International Auto House. You will see some videos at the International Auto House coming up soon. Mike is a fantastic guy, a good friend, a great mechanic. And so he did on this car kind of the entire tune-up, 40,000 mile service. So that is filters, all fluids, transmission fluid service, and pan change. This has the filter integrated into the bottom of the pan, which is actually pretty handy. So that was replaced, and rear diff, transfer case, front differential, brake fluid, everything has been changed on this car. Coolant was flushed, given a very good once over, and no issues were found, thankfully. But we do still have about 2 years of warranty left on this car. So if anything happens, it will be replaced for free, which is fantastic, seeing as this is kind of my all-season daily driver. I do prefer to drive the 7 Series in the summer. I just love that car. But in the winter, we don't want to have issues. We get a ton of snow here in Upper Michigan, so we can't really have a car that doesn't work. So under the hood, here we have our BMW N57 3-liter single turbo diesel. This is a variable geometry turbo, which is great. Really nice technology there. I get incredible fuel economy with this car, guys. I average around 30 mpg. That is combined highway and city. And towing my little pop-up camper, I regularly see low 20s. I can't complain, guys, at all. Fantastic. Plenty of power in this car. I love the styling. I'm really not an SUV guy, but this is just a great car. I would have loved to get it in gray, but that wasn't really an option at the time. I think the only gray one that still was kind of the same, you know, options package, appearance package, interior, etc., that I wanted was in Southern California, which I've driven plenty of times. I've traveled plenty of times to buy cars. It's not an issue, but that was like a 30-hour drive home. Where I got this car was about a 6-hour drive home. So I'm okay with the black. I do like black. It's just harder to keep clean. This car it did also have some body work when I got it. Had a few little door dings, and actually this flare back here had some damage from, I assume, gravel or rocks, something or other being thrown. But this, to me, guys, looks like adhesive. I don't know how well it's going to come through, but it's little patches kind of all over. I think that, yeah, you can kind of see it. I have clay barred this. I've used synthetic clay. I've hand washed it. I've done everything short of cutting and correcting it. And this car will actually be getting a complete cut correction, ceramic coating, etc. before the snow flies, hopefully. And that will all be taken care of, so I'm really not too worried about that at this time. But that's pretty much my fleet. So coming next on this car, really not too much. I do want to keep my warranty. This is a daily driven car, so I would love to keep my warranty for as long as I can. I think that will be advantageous as time goes on, so that one's going to stay pretty stock. However, for the winter, I will not be running 315 35 R20 rear tires, so I will be changing the wheels for the winter. I haven't quite decided what I want yet. I think I will be getting the M Sport 19-inch wheels, factory 19-inch wheels for the F15 generation. Those are, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure someone will, 19 by 9 squared. So I think I'm going to be getting those wheels. And tires, I'm not 100% sure. I've tried a bunch of different, you know, top tier winter tires in the past, but I have not tried the Nokian Hakkapeliittas. So I think those will be going on that car. Big, heavy, all-wheel drive SUV, just needs good tires, and I think it will conquer everything this winter will throw at us. We had a very mild winter last year, so I think we're going to get hit hard, and this car, I want to give the best chances possible of succeeding. So with that being said, guys, that is pretty much my fleet tour. I do have a Harley Davidson motorcycle not in the video. I don't really plan on doing a ton of bike content on this channel, but if that's something you guys are interested in seeing, let me know. I have no problem doing it. I just you know, bikes for me are less about the modification and whatnot and more about just kind of enjoying it. With that being said, I do have a few mods planned for it. Maybe I'll film it, maybe I won't. I don't really know yet. So let me know if that's something you guys want to see. Otherwise, this has been my fleet. Other than that, I guess if there's anything you want me to answer, if there's anything about any of these cars you want to know, let me know in the comments. If there's any videos you would like to see on these cars, if there's any, I guess, car stories, how I got them, where I got them, that kind of thing, let me know. I'd be happy to do that. Other than that, I will see you in the next one. Have a good one, guys.
She my do or die, my bona fide. My up when I'm down, she's always beside me. She makes me feel alive.